Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, people of all ages, welcome back to the Sticky Floors Podcast. I am one of your hosts, CJ, and I am joined by Mr. Will. And tonight, we're not doing a comedy. You might think it is, by the way. Mr. Will came into the joint laughing, but no, we're actually talking about a very serious gangster flick tonight. We got the Brian DePalma 1993 classic Carlito's Way.
Yes,
So
yes.
listen, man, Mr. Will, what's up with you, man? How you doing this evening, man?
Wow, I'm doing great. I am doing great.
Yeah. Me too. Me too. I'm doing good, man. I got like maybe a small set of a career I might have in stand-up comic
Yeah,
one day.
yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, man, I watch those guys on the internet and I'd be thinking I could do that.
I could do
I
that.
could make like a funny skit or two or something and get some views up. We'll see. We'll see. The
Yeah.
way the economy is going, you might have to do it, man. You might have to. Everybody, you got to get
Side
a
hustle.
side hustle that makes some money or something.
Yeah.
Shorty
Yeah.
can't eat no likes. You need money coming in. But but yo, if this is your first time listening to our show, welcome very much to the experience. Every week, me and Mr. Will get together. We talk about movies. Sometimes movies are like this one that's been in theaters a long time ago, but is
Yeah.
thought of as a classic by many. And then sometimes we do things that are in movie theaters right now. Check out our most recent show. We did One Battle After Another, which
Mhm.
has Sean Penn in it, who's also going to be in Carlito's Way as well. And we are pushing to get 100 new subscribers by our 100th episode. This is our 96th. So if you've
Yeah.
listened to the show, you've checked us out on our Apple podcast page, our Spotify podcast page, on our YouTube page, on our Threads page, on our Instagram page, on our Facebook page, and you have not subscribed yet, please do so because it helps us just to know that we're connecting with people and people are liking the commentary and the jokes and the analysis, and it encourages us to keep doing this and keep doing it at a high level. So
Here, here.
please feel free to hit that subscribe button. That way, when we get our new drops, when our drops come out, you'll get them. And with that said, man, we'll kick it over to my man, Mr. Will.
Carlito's Way follows Carlito Brigante, a former Puerto Rican drug kingpin who's released from prison on a legal technicality after serving 5 years of a 30-year sentence. Determined to go straight, Carlito vows to leave his criminal past behind and dreams of escaping to the Bahamas to run a car rental business. He reconnects with his former lover, Gail, and tries to build a future with her, all the while navigating the treacherous world he had once ruled. Despite his best intentions, Carlito finds himself dragged back into the violent underworld due to the loyalty to old friends and the corrupting influence of his slick, ambitious lawyer, Dave Kleinfeld.
There it is. Man, I so this movie now is on Amazon. So
Yeah,
unfortunately, there's no way to see it if you're not paying for it. Unfortunately,
yeah.
it
$3.99 plus
yeah, it would be
tax.
great if it was like on any of the many other streaming platforms that you could see something for free. But
Where it should be.
unfortunately, that's not the case. Sometimes I feel like the internet listens to us, and when we say
Oh,
like,
yeah.
"Yo, we're about to do this movie," they say, "All right, make it something they got to pay to watch."
Yeah.
I know it's probably not how it works, but that's the story that I definitely tell myself, man. This movie, so this joint came out in 1993. I was a little too young to go see this in a movie theater, and probably too young to appreciate a film like this. But this is one of my most favorite food films of all time to watch.
Oh,
I
oh,
just
yeah.
love it. Even from the very beginning, when Carlito was doing he's doing his statement to the court, and he's like just really in it, like thanking everybody, including the DA Norwalk, for getting the tapes in an illegal fashion, and criticizing the judge for thinking he didn't do 30 years, but actually got reformed in 5. And I love the part where the judge says, like a repudiated assassin and drug dealer. He's like, hold up, never convicted on no dope. Like, not the assassin part. That you got right. But the dope part, I didn't do that. Or you didn't convict me on that part. So I mean, like it's a for me, this is like a tour de force performance by Al Pacino, and I always enjoy watching this film.
Oh man, the thing about this movie, on a serious tip, court reform is always at the forefront of movies of this ilk.
Hmm.
And
Yes.
I really find it interesting where I'll watch docudramas or even documentaries, and I'll show the differences of prisons here in the United States versus abroad.
Hmm.
You can go to say like Iceland or Newfoundland and like literally see like the difference in just like the prisons itself.
Hmm.
Like individuals will have their own place. It's like a mini apartment. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? Like they just totally give them all types of brand new amenities. They get to even leave the prison,
Hmm.
come back when they want to,
Hmm.
like type stuff. Like it's just so generous, man. Like the food is better, but yet they expect people to come out to be able to assimilate back into the program. They don't have any type of job skills. They don't have any type of education that would help to expedite the process. Not on the level of where you need to be. Like I had family members, they come home and like they literally don't know what a cell phone is. They don't
Right.
know what the internet is. They don't know what an Apple Watch
Hmm.
is. Like they have such a hard time like figuring out like, oh, I've been gone for X amount of years, and not all either all my friends are deceased or this, that, and the third. And this movie literally talks about that in the opening scenes when he's walking back to his hometown.
Yeah. To the bar. To
Uh,
the
uh
barrio. Yep.
yeah, and I don't even want to call it that because that's funny to me. I don't know. None of my Puerto Rican friends, associates, co-workers, et cetera, call it the barrio. Like they
What
just
do they
don't do
call
that.
it?
But
What do they call it?
my hood or my home,
They call it.
my projects or
That research into that research into the
yeah.
film
Well,
was
it's
not
not so
accurate.
much. It's just a lot of the little things like that that just make it seem like they picked Al Pacino to play a Puerto Rican.
Oh, I'm gonna
They
get to
play
that. Oh, I'm gonna
Vigo.
get to that. Yes.
They
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna
they
get to
picked
that. Yeah.
Vigo Mortensen to play a Puerto Rican.
Yes.
Like I'm sitting there and I'm like, word,
Yeah.
we doing this again with Scarface?
Yeah.
Word, he's Cuban now. Okay, I got you. Um, and even just the like they're very flippant with the use of like they bring in the Italians and they're stereotypical the mob where they wear the same clothes and the guy's like
Hmm.
when Kleinfeld calls him the derogatory term and he's wearing this John Travolta outfit.
Yep.
I mean, I get it. It takes place in 75. All right, but I'm just like, really?
Yeah.
Everybody talks like that, walks like that. All the Italian mob dudes call black people all types of bad names and
It's
stuff.
it's
Really?
a
All the
movie.
time?
Yeah. Yeah. But this is the thing, man. Like, I wonder how much of that is the modern day sensibilities that we have now. Like, if you
Fair.
watched this in 1993, right? If you were an adult who watched it in 1993 and you were born in the 60s or the 50s, these
Mm,
people may feel more real to you and less stereotypical than they do to
that's
us.
fair. That's
We
fair.
also have had the experience of seeing 15 movies like this
Yeah.
by the time we get to this one. You know what I'm saying? Now that being said, like the
They even use the same actors in a lot of those
right,
movies.
yeah, that being said, the whole like Al Pacino playing a Puerto Rican guy like that's in my hot takes.
But he does
I'm gonna
speak
get to
Spanish in real
he does,
life. You know,
apparently, yeah. I mean,
like he's fluent. Yeah,
he's a
like on some Ben Affleck
he's
stuff.
a well, Ben's got a different reason for wanting to speak Spanish all the time, but he's he's a great Al Pacino is a great he's obviously he's a great actor, right? And you said something about the idea of people going away, they come back, the whole world changes around them, right?
hmm
One of the main themes kind of running underneath all this is like Carlito's only gone for 5 years. And in five
Yeah,
years, his old guy, his old boss he was working with has now become more affluent. Most of the
hmm
people he knows are dead or in jail. The ones that he
yeah.
that aren't are like Pachanga, who maybe he can't trust, who actually he can't trust,
You
right?
can trust, but
And
yeah,
then he's got little guys like Benny Blanco from the Bronx biting on his heels the whole time.
this movie had me hating
Yeah,
John Leguizamo, man.
right. But I mean, like, it's a good, it's like a good fish out of water story. Like, I know that makes it seem really benign compared to what it is, and it's also like this lesson that if this was made today, people would say this is a movie that teaches you that when you're trying to elevate and change, you can't be around the same people that you used to be
Mm,
around, which is
crab in
true.
the
Which
bucket.
is true, but it's like for Carlito, it plays out in such a like a process way of him just seeing all these characters and people he knew. Most of them stayed in the same place, or even worse, they want to drag him back down to where they were.
But see, I think that's the thing, though. Why would you expect someone to change if they're still doing the same things that they were
Yeah,
doing when you left? It's just a modified
yeah,
version or something with a twist.
yeah,
Kleinfeld's still an attorney, still representing criminals, um, and he's going to continue to be in the same courtroom with the individuals that he opposes, and eventually he's going to resent them and their tactics. Carlito goes back. He doesn't immediately seek out Gail. You know who he seeks out? Seeks out the dudes that he used to do crime with.
of course. Yeah,
He's sitting there telling his nephew he promised his mother that he would bring. Then you would be like, "Yo, no, I don't care if you
yeah,
got that money. I'll bring it back. We're going to bring it back to whomever." Yada yada.
yeah,
Like they would have made a way, and he
yeah.
wouldn't have gone in on the drug deal. As soon as he saw the bathroom looking shady or whatever have you, he would have handled his business. As soon as they started talking all this other extra stuff, he would have went and got Pachinga from the beginning. So a lot of these things, where they're talking about like wanting to make a change. I'm rehabilitated. I'm not going to be around these people. I'm not buying it.
So you don't think that Carlito really wants to be rehabilitated? You don't think he's really done with the crime, with the world of crime?
No, I think like a lot of people, it has to be cemented. Like, yeah, you really need to be done. I mean, look at it.
Yeah,
Yo, you killed us. It took the death of a mob boss in order for him to really be like, yo, don't do it. He wasn't going to do it when Gail was like, yo, please, begging and pleading. I'm telling you, this is how it's going to go
yeah.
down. She gave him the play by
She
play.
did. She did.
I'm going to be wiping up your blood from your shoes. You're going to hurt me
Hmm.
again. Yada yada. I don't want to raise a child without a father. Like
Yeah,
she gave him the play by
yeah. She was.
play.
She was. It was precognitive foreshadowing of what the end of the movie
Yo,
looks like. No doubt. I think though, one of the things that these movies, I think the reason why these movies resonate with people so much, and I would say resonate with men in general in particular, is like there's this idea of like loyalty that runs
mm,
through the thing.
oh
Carlito
yeah,
is he is, I think, understandably loyal to Kleinfeld because,
to a
like
fault.
he says to Gail, I was dead. I was
Yeah,
done. 30 years was the end of my life,
that's a life.
and he
Yeah,
got me out in 5. You know what I mean? Like that. That's like like it's easy to, like, you talk about people and you say, oh, this person would die for you, this person saved your life, and a lot of times
hmm,
like we kind of just saying that, but in this
it's
instance
hyperbole.
he saved his life, right? And Carlito doesn't know, and the audience doesn't know either, like how off the rails Kleinfeld is going to become. Shout outs to Sean Penn once again with an
Yeah,
amazing performance
magnificent.
of
Yeah.
Davy Kleinfeld here. But it's like part of the journey of the film is Carlito and I think the audience understanding that not only is not only do the people in his life like have they stayed in the same place, but also that they want him to stay there with them.
Oh
And
yeah.
that's the thing that really makes it hard. And I think we all have friends that we used to have that didn't grow or didn't change, and they want you to stay where they are. Like they want you to be in that same mindset, and you're trying to like move forward and do something else, and then they'll drag you back, like Mob Deep said, like a fiend for crack is pulling me back. It's real.
That hold is real. It kind of reminds me of something that surprisingly Mike Epps said. He was talking about like he'd go back to, well, actually it's twofold. He was going back to his old home, and he bought out the blocks and
Yeah, I
stuff,
remember that.
and
Yeah.
he was actually making a difference, something positive.
Hmm.
But he was saying that you know he was at his best as far as like the work and his career and opportunities when he was doing drugs, when he was sad, when he was going through all this turmoil and such. And it reminded me of Mary J. Blige echoing those same sentiments when like she put out 3 consecutive albums that I believe are dope. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? My Life, Share My World, and What's the 411,
Hmm.
and not in that order.
Hmm.
And out of all of them, everyone remembers My
Yeah.
Life. No one cares about anything she put out. She has countless hits, but the only thing that people will make synonymous with her is My Life. And that was during the time where she was mentally, physically, verbally abused.
Yeah.
And Carlito seems to be getting or garnering all this love, not because he was doing charitable works, not because he invented something that was life saving or life changing. He, he peddled drugs.
Hmm.
He pushed drugs in his community
Yep.
to the people around him. Devastation on such a scale that you can never even begin to tally what that bill is,
Yeah.
and it's quite unfortunate
Yeah.
that
And
that was glamorized.
yeah. And so, all right. So that's all right. I want to come to that because that's an interesting point there. I think he is glamorized by the younger dudes and the street
Hmm.
dudes because they want what he had. He's
Hmm.
glamorized by the dudes who had what he had because when he went to jail, he didn't snitch.
Yeah, he
Right?
didn't
Like
bring the
he
woman.
didn't like he stuck to the code. And throughout the film, there is like this through line of Carlito has a code, but no other institution
No
or
one else to, yeah.
individual around him
No,
has a code. And it's like
no.
everybody else kind of like their rules are just kind of changed up depending on the situation, depending on the money, depending on the pressure, and he doesn't want to do that. And I think that's why I think the character Carlito Brigante is probably for me a little bit different than I look at like a Tony Montana, for example,
Oh, no
like in terms of
question.
that
Yeah.
character. But the thing that you said that I want to just go back to is the idea of glamorizing that type of lifestyle. Do you
Mhm.
think like this type of movie glamorizes the mobster, lifestyle kind
No,
of thing the way that some
no.
do? I think there are some that do it, although
Yes.
I don't think the intention is to do that, but they do, I think, do it in some ways because they usually find like the most charismatic, amazing actors to play these roles, and it makes you like the person that's doing it, and you separate that from like what they're actually doing. But do you think like this film is doing that?
I'm going to offer major pushback on that, man. And the reason why I push back on that is an interview I heard, ironically, on a rap album where Charlemagne is talking about gangster stuff.
Hmm.
And he was like, yo, just turn it off. Turn the channel. Watch something else. Read a book. Go outside. Et cetera, et cetera. But
Hmm.
no, that's not the case because America loves gangster stuff.
It does.
That's not the word he
Hmm.
uses. And Fonte from Little Brother said it best in a rap. He was like, "Yo, people were talking this gangster stuff before rap. I was calling women derogatory names before I knew how to rhyme.
Hmm.
So this stuff existed and predated any means of entertainment.
Hmm.
Um, it's just that we use these things as a crutch. And the first movie that makes me incorporate and that encapsulates all of that is one of your favorite movies, Casino,
Hmm.
where literally Nas makes a video based upon that.
Hmm.
Your favorite rapper.
Hmm.
Um, when they go to the scene and they're talking about Vinny and he's over here and he's diamond ringed out and
Hmm.
they talking about them getting
Classic.
all this cash and
Classic.
everything.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there and I'm like, they're making this look great.
Yeah.
And to double down on it, any Mario Puzo movie,
Hmm.
to triple down on that. The Sopranos, which was a big hit, rest in power, James Gandolfini.
Hmm.
I mean, to the point where Meadow and her brother are doing podcasts now
Hmm.
and talking about the series. They're still living off of that acclaim.
Yeah.
Um, so I would say that this movie does the antithesis of that. Here's a guy who had all this
I agree.
prestige, goes to jail, and literally they're like, yo, how you gonna put like your life back together? You don't have a job. Where are you living at? This, that, and the
Hmm.
third.
He's gonna sell
That
cars in Florida.
I'm gonna sell, and he gets ridiculed for wanting to do
Yeah.
something that's
Yeah.
modest, something that most
Yeah.
people do every day, and manage to have a family.
Yeah.
Excuse me, raise kids, go to school, et
Hmm.
cetera, et cetera. It's just crazy to
He's
me.
an endearing character, and
Yeah,
he's different. And Carlito is different than, like you said, he is different from all those other things.
no
I
question.
think the other thing about that, when you compare it to like, let's say Scarface or a Casino or Goodfellas or any of those films, there's also a trajectory that the character goes on where
Mm,
that in the end they're going to meet with a bad ending, right? So
mm,
that story, it's almost like all I think gangster films and movies and television, well, films and movies, same thing. Gangster films and television shows all kind of follow that same morality bend in a way, with the
mm.
exception of like maybe Ozark, but that would be a whole different story. But what's interesting about this film is that Carlito ends up in the same place that all those other people end up in, and I think
You
as
think
an
he?
audience,
Oh, so you're saying he dies at the end?
yeah, he does, yeah, and yeah, and in the end, you feel bad about it because you feel like you don't want him. You don't want that for him. You feel
I
like,
don't think he dies though.
oh, it's confirmed he's dead. It's it's
Where?
confirmed. Like, it's read
Oh,
anything.
in the book, you
Yeah,
mean?
no, read
Versus
anything.
the
Read
movie?
anything about the film. It ends with him dying. He's dead.
No, those are interpretations. I have never read anything that Brian DePalma says I killed him
Yeah,
off.
he's dead. I mean, like, we can debate on that part, but to me, he's dead at the end. That is the tragedy of the whole film, is that he doesn't make it out. Like, his that thing that he's seeing of, like, Gail dancing and everything.
Yeah.
That's like his final kind of idea of
Hmm.
what that reality would look like, that he's not going to make it to.
That's interesting. I'm the optimist out of the duo, and I would argue
Oh,
that
no, you don't get to be the optimist side of the duo. You're optimistic on this part. You think that. You
yeah,
think that, but you didn't think he died at the end?
nah, man. I like to think that one, he does what Gale
That's
says, where he's
fascinating.
touch and go, et cetera, et cetera. But it never confirmed and said like, yo, he flatlined, he was dead, whatever, whatever. They never
Interesting.
they left it open ended. Even had that garbage prequel, even though everything is based upon the book, and even
Mm-hmm.
the first half of the prequel is literally page by page from the book.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see anything that was like confirmation. Hell,
Interesting.
he's deceased. I think he was having flashbacks. I think he was seeing his life flash before his eyes. I
Mm-hmm.
think he was projecting. I think he was hallucinating. I don't think he was lucid, and I think that he manages to leave it open ended intentionally, due to at best for the viewer to go whatever way they want. Me personally, I'm thinking like, well, since you didn't say he was dead and he's on the gurney, he's on the stretcher,
Right.
which is crazy to me because cops are down the thing. They just shot up Vincent, but you don't see them running after they see Benny Blanco.
Yeah.
And another thing that's crazy, since we're talking about Benny, and I know I'm going all over the place, but I want to get it out. This dude is sitting there literally running next to Carlos Brigante with an arm
Yeah.
sling on
And you can
his
see him
left
running
hand
up. Yeah,
side.
you see him run
You
up. Yeah.
clearly see this
Yeah.
dude, and you're like, what? And he's like, you got to remember, figure out all the angles, and you got to see the. You didn't think?
Yeah. I mean,
I
like, it's so all right. So first of all, not thinking that Carlito's dead, that's like an amazingly different interpretation of the film. I think
agree.
that's dope. So I'm gonna put a question out, like, on the threads page or something about that, because I always thought that it was a foregone conclusion that was the ending. And I think over time I have always wanted him to get out. I wanted him to escape. I wanted him to live and make it to Florida and sell used cars. I just didn't think that was.
Well, actually, they're supposed to go to the Bahamas, but get to
Yeah,
Florida in
yeah,
order to get to Nassau.
yes,
But I get your
yes,
point.
whatever it is. Just make it to the world where you are not in the crime,
You're not
where
deceased.
you don't have
Yeah.
to worry about people trying to kill you
Mhm.
anymore.
And
like,
who wouldn't want
like,
that?
like he says, car dealers don't get shot a lot. Those people
Mm-mm.
usually live. So I always thought that as much as I wanted him to get out, the fact that he doesn't makes the movie even better for me. And it's a weird, like, love hate relationship that I have with it,
Wow.
because
Now that is an interesting
because
take.
I because I feel like the message, if there's a message in the film, the message is you do have to get away from the people that you're around when they have not evolved as you have. And that if you don't learn that lesson, then you end up where they all do. You become the collateral damage of being,
Mm.
you're standing too close to the fire, so you get burned by it. I think, like, the message for me would have been different, if that didn't happen. And I probably would have still. I mean, I'm like the movie regardless because it's just so well done. But that's interesting, man, that you didn't think that he died in the end. That's wow.
No, because when Pachinga's like, yo, yeah, we gotta get out of here. He's like, nah,
You
you
stay
gonna
here.
stay here.
Yep. Yep.
No, he's dead.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I
Yo,
mean? And
Pachango can't make it.
he got shot in the same area. And they made it intentionally so that Pachinga is dead.
Pachango
They had
can't.
no they had no qualms about saying like, yo, he's done. He's dead.
Okay.
But with Carlos, well, I mean, with
Carlito.
Carlito, they were like, "Yo, you know what? He's going through all this." They even showed it in the beginning of the film where they're doing, the little foreshadowing,
Mm-hmm.
the commentary, the audio, instructional, whatever, talk over,
Mm-hmm.
and then it mimics that towards the end. And he's seeing Gail. He's even seeing her dance on that little tropical
Mm-hmm.
area beach setting. And I'm sitting there like he's still talking as if like he's defeated. But remember, she said never heard you talk like this before. I've never felt like this before. So with him having this new sense of feeling, being more tied in or honed into his emotions, this is a new experience. He may not be able to quantify or clarify any of this for the viewer, but with DePalma saying, "Hey, you know what? Let's leave this open on some like Shane stuff." You know what I mean? Where
Mm-hmm.
everybody's like, "Yo, did he die or whatever?"
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the same way. It builds up that anticipation for, hey, you know what? Maybe we can get a sequel out of this. Maybe we, where we can get definitive answers.
Yeah.
Because again, a major mob boss is killed. You don't think the Italian's going to retaliate?
Yeah.
Yo, he finds out that, Benny Blanco wants to be the next him.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think he was going to retaliate against him? And who tries to shoot this man in front of Gail and lets her live? She's a witness.
Yeah.
You
Unless
know what I'm
unless
saying?
he didn't know who Gail was. Unless he didn't really know anything about her. He just sees her on
She
the train.
runs, Carlito runs up to her and she's like, "You made it." And he says, "Remember me, Benny Blanco from the
Yeah.
Bronx?"
But
Like, come on.
isn't there codes and ethics around like
She's a
no
civilian.
women and children, no civilians, no things like that, you know.
Remember they said he's one of these young kids
Mm-hmm.
and they shotgun blast, in
Yeah,
front of,
Pachanga, they shotgun you just to see you fly up in the air. Great
yeah,
line.
but he even mentioned a dude who got shotgun blast in front of an open public area on their block.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I just say that I use that example to say, like, nah, they don't have, because his whole point in referencing that was they don't have morals, they don't have codes. Then this whole thing about honor amongst thieves and keeping your mouth shut, because even the old boss was like, maybe you think I owe you something. Yeah, you owe him something. You think you don't?
Yeah.
You really think that he's just supposed to go to jail and good for him is all he gets, a pat on the back? You ain't want to break him off with some bread from the profits you made?
Yeah. But that's it. But I think that's the other part though, is I mean, once again, I mean, I think the thing about the story is Carlito has these codes, he has these ethics, he has these rules,
And no
and no
one
one else
hears,
around him really has it. And even that scene
even though
where,
they think they
yeah,
do.
even that scene, like the guy thinks that Carlito is coming to him wanting money. But
But he didn't
Carlito's
even
like,
come to
I
him.
don't even want the money. Like I want to be out. I don't want to have to be connected with you anymore. Even with La Ling, which like one of my favorite scenes. Even La Ling's scene is all about the idea of you didn't get connected with someone. And Carlito's like, no, I worked on my appeal. I tried to get out. I didn't want to. I wanted to be free of this. I'm not connected with anybody. I don't know anyone. Like he's like he's so crime. He's like crime adjacent at this point, right? He's not a criminal, but he's criminally adjacent, and even that causes him so much stress, and I would say ultimately his life.
But see, that's the whole point for me where I'm like, he manages at every turn, every curvature, every bend to get away from it.
Mm-hmm.
How? Well, let's go with the point where he literally pushes Benny down the steps. Could have murked him.
Yep. Should have.
Did, debatable.
Should
What
have.
he should have done was, no, we leave right now.
He didn't.
We
He
leave
didn't
right
have the
now.
money.
No, 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 no. Forget the money. We leave right now. We'll start over.
Yeah, but there's,
Nah, man.
but that's a
Your
part of,
money or your life. You got to be around to spend that money.
but that's the. I mean, like that's the architecture
I
of the
know why they
film.
had to do it, of
He needs the
course.
money to start the business
Yeah.
to do the thing. You know what I mean?
But
So
logically speaking, CJ, you got the mob after you, got the cops after you, and you got this young, hot, new thing after you.
mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, you're going to be like, yo, no, we're going to cut our losses and
Yeah,
we out.
I th-
And with the news that your lady's pregnant,
yeah.
no, there's nothing.
I
The
think
problem solves itself. The math adds up right then and
I
there.
think that I think the Benny Blanco part is the part where, and I think this is where the narration is important because he knows that he should kill Benny. He knows
I
that. He says
remember.
like I should, I know the streets are
hmm
watching. She's always
hmm
right. That's
Dun,
right.
dun,
Right. They know that that's
dun,
there.
dun,
But he also he's not that person. He doesn't want to be that person. He's not, a homicidal person like Pachanga is who wants to, put him in the trunk and push him off the pier and all that stuff.
It'll be
Yeah, it'd
fun.
be fun, Poppy, be fun. Right. Like that, like Pachanga is so Yo, as a sidebar, man. Yo, I just saw a FanDuel commercial today with the Pachanga, Pachanga in it. That guy will
Oh,
always
with
be.
Luis
He
Guzman?
will
Luis
always be. He
Guzman?
will always be Pachanga. He's in a FanDuel commercial right now,
Yo,
and I'm like, yo, it's
he is a
Pachanga.
great actor.
He really is. He really is.
Shout out to Luis
But
Guzman.
it's like Carlito. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to go back to that life, and he also knows that he should do those things. He knows what he also knows the system that he's from, and he knows the rules of the system, and he's breaking the rules of the system. And so it's like it just
Because he's no longer part of that system, though. So
yeah,
is he really breaking it?
yes, because he knows the rules. Like a civilian person would maybe I don't want to say you or I because I don't want to say you. I
No,
would say,
no.
but you might think it's over because I let this dude live. But Carlito knows I really had to kill this person. And it's not even, and remember, he says, it's not, he says, if I don't do this, then they're going to say Carlito's soft, man. Carlito found religion, whatever. He's soft. He's flaky.
But see,
They're
that's
going to
the
say
whole
he's flaky.
thing. It's one thing if you're still a murderer, killer, criminal,
Mm-hmm.
and you're showing mercy,
Mm-hmm.
and even that could be seen in a different couple of ways. Like, yo, I'm gonna leave you alive to send a message to the other people.
Right.
All right, whatever. It's another when you're now telling people for the longest, yo, I am not in the game anymore.
Right.
I'm not trying to go back to jail. If I do criminal things,
Right.
I'm going back to jail.
Right.
Do you understand that?
Right.
I'm not trying to do that. So for him, which is why I don't understand why Benny doesn't pick up on this. Because if he's so plugged into the street, he would know that this guy's no longer even a threat. He has nothing. So for me trying to share a drink with this guy to try and build off of his former reputation, it shouldn't take anything. For me to claim a woman in his club that I already know has a reputation,
Mm-hmm.
cut your losses. For me to continue to perpetuate this thing like, yo, this older guy pushed me down a flight of stairs. I'm lucky to be alive. He showed me grace by allowing me to leave.
Mm-hmm.
When these two dudes wanted to kill me, I should be grateful. I should see the lesson in that.
Yeah.
And the other thing, even on top of that, is I'm going to have his man spy on me for what? What does that do for you? Now you're going to have a target because you don't think that he has people that want that the same way you admired him, they admire him too, and don't want retaliation. They don't want retribution.
Yeah. But I think
Like this is why I said this. The movie was left open ended to resolve all these other questions, but like Gladiator, it missed its turn.
But I think
in order to do that.
But I think though that everything you said about Benny is the rationale of someone who's not in that system.
Because again, he's no longer in
No,
that
I'm
system.
saying what you said. You were saying that you think Benny would have said,
saying that Al,
he saved me, he showed mercy. The thing is, Benny doesn't think like that because Benny's a part of the system where there is no mercy.
Agreed.
But Carlito is now trying to apply mercy to a situation where it doesn't exist, where you cannot be merciful because people don't see it as mercy; they see it as weakness.
No, I get that point, but if Carlito is no longer a part of the system and everyone knows it,
mm-hmm.
then he's following a new set of rules, and rightfully so.
Yeah,
and so those things should be applicable to him, where it's like, no, we don't shoot people that are no longer a part of this. It's one thing if he's a rival who's still selling heroin.
Yeah.
It's another if he's selling cocaine, I sell cocaine, we're battling for territory.
Yeah.
But he's no longer a part of that.
Yeah. That's
and even with that's the other problem I have with the movie with the Italian mob, where they're like, oh, he lied. He just saw his lawyer. You think I'm going to tell the mob that I saw my lawyer that everyone's been talking about wants to kill him? So why would I tell you, yeah, I saw him?
Yeah. But you're once again, you're applying the logic of someone who's not in that world to the people in that world. Like even when Kleinfeld kills Tony, Carlito says they're going to read this with their eyes closed. They're going to know he did it. They're going to figure out that I was close enough to know it. Like even he knows. He knows by the time when I mean that's why he tells Kleinfeld, you killed us. You killed.
I know that he sees
it. You killed us, like that,
because he knows that these people are twisted and demented.
Yeah, he knows who he's dealing with.
Apply common sense.
He knows who he's dealing with, man. The other thing is, with Benny Blanco, shout out to John Leguizamo, who's just fantastic in the Benny Blanco character. It's so funny because when I watch it, the last time I was watching, I was thinking, dang, he really wants Carlito to be like his mentor.
I don't understand why.
He must have a mentor relationship with him. And it's like Carlito will not give it to him. He he
He
wants
wants
he
he
wants
wants him to co-sign him.
yeah, he wants Carlito's validation, and Carlito will not give it to him.
I'm not giving you my
And even when
blessing.
Sasso was like, "This guy is you like 10 like 10 years
He said this
ago,"
was you 10 years
never
ago.
me, never me. Like it's just like it's such a just a well
But
done
that's the
film.
perception. I think Carlito isn't like him.
He's not.
Because
He's
remember,
not.
he was talking about principles and he's talking about a code of ethics
Yep.
and the ability for him to even, like he mentions this story. He's like, yo, I was going to fight these dudes straight up with a blade.
Yeah.
That garnered respect
Yeah.
because these guys were like, oh, he's willing to fight. And even though we want to shoot, he wants to stab.
Yeah.
He picked up on it. He was able to navigate
Yeah.
that criminal world where he was able to do business with Italians.
Mm-hmm.
He says it like they don't normally step outside their own,
Yeah.
but they wanted to do business with me. I built up a reputation because of the way I handled myself.
Yeah.
So they're nothing alike.
They're not. They're not. Yeah. No, it's true. It's true. And yes, they're not. And Carlito is right about that. And Benny is also like just it's so many things, man. I mean, there's movie I could have this movie is
Well, it's
already
about
I they could have added another 30 minutes to this film with other stuff, and it would have been still been interesting to me. Because like I would have liked to see like what's Benny's organization really look like? What does he really do? Like that, because the characters are just so rich, man. I know that's gonna get into the cake, and we can pivot to that. But I mean, it's just a very rich film, and the way that the characters are constructed, their interplay between them, and like the center of it is Carlito, but he's also like outside the center because, like we've been saying, he knows the system, but he's not. He doesn't want to participate in it, but he wants to be close to it at the same time. And that's the problem. You can't be close to the crime and the criminal element and still try to pretend like you're going to be a legit guy.
I don't even think though it's a question of him wanting to be close to it. I think it's done so out of necessity because he's made a clear risk assessment as far as what his prospects are. He understands that he can't flourish anywhere else outside of his community, and that leads to my point about like that new where they're talking about the contrast of the new Puerto Ricans, basically the Nuyorican in that area, which reminds me of that spot in the Lower East Side on East Third, Nuyorican
Yeah, near Rican Cafe. Yeah.
yeah. Um, and you could tell, like, I have a bunch of Puerto Rican dudes I run with, and a good portion of them don't speak Spanish, and they're always
Really?
looked at, yeah, and they're always looked at like you ain't really Puerto Rican because you don't speak Spanish. And I run with a bunch of people who are from like South American countries, and they look at the Caribbean people who speak Spanish like you don't even speak real Spanish, like because they'll say words that end in V with an L.
That's funny.
It's around that. So I say that to say like another thing that this movie talks about brilliantly, since we're pivoting to the cake, is I love that they talk about the nuances within their own communities. They make the distinctions of like what it means to be during that era and to be a part of these different ethnicities and racial groups.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the things the Italians talk about is, oh, I thought he was Italian because
Yeah.
of the way he
Yeah.
danced,
Yeah.
but he's not black.
Yeah.
So they even Italians don't look at any of these other people who have proximity to whiteness
Yeah.
as being white,
That's a great
even
point.
though a lot of them have been under this
That's a
colonial
great point.
system where they literally think like, yo, me no black. And it's like, nah, you are.
That's a
You
great
just don't
point.
refuse
Yeah.
to come to the table. So that's one of the things I like that they talk about the social,
Mm-hmm.
economical issues going on in that tri-state area, and the classism. Another thing I loved is the class. I mean, the cast.
Oh, of
So
course.
Al Pacino, we talked about Sean Penn. We mentioned Luis Guzman. Penelope Ann Miller gets busy in this.
Yes,
And
Gail.
like,
Yes.
yo,
Yes. Yeah.
she brings a femininity,
Yeah.
a grace, a sensuality,
Yeah.
sexuality.
Yep.
Like, this is a woman who makes no apology, even though it's contradictory. This is a woman who makes no apologies for dancing topless
Mm-hmm.
and tries to somehow make logic out of an illogical situation. You lied, you take no accountability, and you're using your sexuality, something that we would literally call we call that person a derogatory term, and you trying to rep it. Don't judge me. Why? Because you kill people.
Yeah, that was
And
funny. Yeah, that was that
and like you keep asking me about it,
yeah
so it means you
yeah
have more of some type of deviant within you that you like that for whatever
Gail.
reason.
Yeah, I like Gail, man. Gail's good for yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah, Gail is
There's
good.
no
Yeah,
worries.
Gail's good. Yeah, go ahead. Keep going. Go
We
going.
talked
Cass.
about John Leguizamo. We
Great.
talked about
Yes.
Viggo Mortensen,
Yes.
um,
Laline cooking off the bench.
Laline. But somebody on the low that we didn't talk about is John Ortiz, who plays Al Pacino's nephew in the
Guayo.
beginning.
Guayo. Yes, man.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
like and like he's in countless movies, and he got his start essentially in this movie.
Right.
So like that was dope to me.
Yo, how about a couple weeks ago, Nobody 2. He's in
Yeah,
Nobody
that's what
2.
I'm saying.
He's in American
So
Fiction. Like he's been in a couple. He's actually quietly been in a couple of films that we've
that's what I'm
covered over the
saying.
years. Yeah.
It's a lot of these character actors who've built out a 2-decade, 3-decade
Yes.
career
Yes.
based upon being the person like I know him from somewhere, but you don't remember their name.
Yep.
Um, and on a sidebar, I definitely want to give a rest in power to the dude that actually ends up counting the money in that scene. He ended up passing away several years back from pulmonary heart
Oh, okay. I
failure
know you're
due
talking
to
about with the
HIV.
glasses, with the
Yeah,
sunglasses
with
on.
the
Yeah.
glass with the
With
fro
the beret
joint. I
joint. Yeah.
forget. I'll probably look it up later while we're talking. But forgive me if I don't remember his name. Aside from the cast, I love that the period is during like that transition from the '60s and a lot of the civil rights movement all the way to now where you're dealing with disco and on the cusp of like this cocaine cowboy era.
Yep.
Definitely love that transition. Um, and the movie itself as a whole, I love Brian DePalma as a director. Like I really get into his work. I appreciate the way that he has these shots, these overhead views and such, and the way he uses the light and the rain scenes that he uses. Like he uses the scenery as another character, as another key component
Yeah.
in all of the movies that he's directed.
Yeah. And can I just add the use of color in those scenes, like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
blues of
Soundtrack, color.
him and when Carlito and Kleinfeld and Tony T's son are all on the boat, everything is blue.
Hmm.
Or like the hallway scene with Carlito talking to Benny, and they're both in all red, like the red light and
Yeah.
everything, like which just connotes the anger and the intensity of
Hmm.
that moment, and making it where they're like eye to eye, and as the viewer, you're eye to eye with it too. Yeah,
Or even the scene where Tony's in the water and the fog and everything,
yeah,
and like that's just it, that haze that he can't see
yes,
where he's going in his destiny, and he's in troubled
yeah,
waters. He is choppy and everything like
yes.
that. The gentleman's name is Rick Avilas.
Okay,
But and I love the scene where he's constantly reminded of his mortality and his age and how he's not able to be as nimble
yeah,
as he was when he was younger, and his appreciation and admiration for just things of culture of value. He's like, yo, you can't see that this is just dope that they're
yeah.
dancing.
How about
Like
that?
he's not the guy's not groping my woman. He's no threat to me.
Yeah,
Like even if he tried to hit on Gail would be like, no, I'm with him.
yeah.
So I'm not even tripping. Why are you?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's great. I mean, and like you said, Brian De Palma. I mean, if he never made anything else, he made Carlito's Way in Scarface. I mean, like,
That's why I said
my
like I
goodness, like those are two of them probably like at least. I mean, Scarface for real. Like people, I don't think I've talked to ever seen it and talked to somebody who never saw Scarface.
look, man. I was gonna let it go, but I can't resist since you bring up Scarface. This movie alone has endless samples in almost every rap album you can think
How
of,
about it?
from Jay-Z to the Purple Tape to one of our boys' favorite rapper, Project Pat. You name it.
Yeah,
This joint is all
yeah,
over. There's a Bron Nazareth, Don
yeah,
Pacino from Killer Army track. There's countless MCs, rappers who have sampled this movie alone.
yeah.
All the scenes that you can think of. When John Ortiz is getting his throat slit,
Mm-hmm.
that's on the Purple Tape.
Yeah, yeah.
like,
I mean, like you said, Jay-Z, Streets is watching, man.
yo,
It
the
comes from
whole
the line in
thing
this
with
movie.
pain in the ass
Yeah.
doing the narration.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm
right.
reloading.
Right.
Yo,
Right. Yeah,
even
it's a
and
cultural classic. It's a cultural staple. And, to your point, the way it captures that particular time of life, like that transition from the 70s into the 80s with the music, with the style, with the dress, even Carlito with the long black leather jacket.
how does this dude stay fresh when he ain't
Winter,
got no clothes? When
winter,
he ain't got nothing?
Spring, summer, fall. He's got the same
He got a
coat
matching
on.
trench coat and a suit, and and
Yo,
3/4 boots to match
yo,
everything.
I'm watching the joint. And I'm like, man, I need to start wearing vests, man. I just need to start wearing
Yo, I
suit
started
vests,
thinking
man.
like, yo, I need a couple of
Right,
three-piece
right.
suits.
Like, yo, it was fresh, man. But yeah. All right. So
Yo, and shout out to Ito too, who's a rapper who actually has an album that is called Carlito's Way that's based upon this movie, scene by scene, everything. That's what I'm saying. The influence as far as a cultural identity,
amazing with this. No question.
amazing.
No question. All right. So my cake, yo, Sean Penn as Davy Kleinfeld, man. First, the look of Kleinfeld. I mean, Kleinfeld looks like a lizard, and then he turns out to be a lizard. The way that this movie works with Kleinfeld, it's so intense. Like when you watch it, you just see him go down the drain. Like
Oh yeah.
everything, like from where he starts to like then he's doing coke,
Coked
then
up
he's
all
messing with
the time.
Steffi in the bathroom, then he's carrying a pistol, and he's like trying to kill Tony T. Like he's like he just
Who rocks a revolver with a pearl
I
handle?
know, dog. Somebody who's not really a gangster, somebody who's not, somebody who has no business, and that's the. Oh well, we'll get to that. Yeah, but Kleinfeld, amazing, amazing job by. You know what? I was thinking when I was watching this, man. You know, Sean Penn could have played the Joker, man. In the '90s, he could have done the Joker. That scene when he's like killed after he killed Tony T and his brother and his son, and he's like laughing and
Yeah.
like he looks crazy the whole time.
DC, you missed out on an opportunity.
He could have did it, man. Yo, you mentioned the actors and the actresses, but it's such a rich set of characters. Like
Mm-hmm.
they just stay with you even to this day. My friends will reference like Laline or Sasso. That's Sasso, man. Used to be Ron. Like it's so many things that just stick with you. It's
I
just
mean, John Leguizamo found his wife in this movie because she was one of his girlfriends
and
in this
and
movie.
everybody knows Benny Blanco from the Bronx. It just stays with you. Like the alliteration, everything was just perfect there. Yo, my favorite one of my favorite scenes is the scene with you said Viggo Mortensen as Laline. I love that scene because it's so funny in a way in a way. And that's the
Him
thing.
being in a wheelchair is funny.
No, what's funny is when he's like, "Oh, it wasn't even on. I was gonna tell you. I was gonna warn you."
I can't give you a signal.
I was gonna give you a signal. I'll be like, it's so funny, and it's not meant to be, and it's such a serious scene. But you know,
Just shoot me then.
yeah, and then Kavachanga tries to come in and shoot him. It's just it's such a great scene where they're just ad libbing and doing their thing, and it's like I just love the scene. And Laline, the term Laline has become like a definition for someone who can't be trusted. So whenever you're around somebody who can't be trusted, they're called Laline, right? Just because of that film. So that's that. Last thing, the scene where Carlito finally confronts Dave and he takes the bullets out of the gun. I love it because
Wickedness.
Kleinfeld thinks he's flexed on him. Your whole
Mm-hmm.
world is this small. You don't know anything. I saved you all. He's like Kleinfeld is in his bag, and Carlito's like, all right, cool. Just make sure you
Tell
put the
me how
gun
you
here.
really feel.
Put the gun
You've been
here.
holding on to that.
Make sure that when they come in, you got it. When they come in, you're ready for them. And then he took all the bullets out.
That's another thing. Like, yo, you don't let another man hold your gun. And he didn't
Adios.
feel the weight, the difference in the weight without the bullets in the gun.
Adios, counselor.
You deserved it, man.
Adios, counselor. All right. Hate, man. What you got in the hate, man?
I think we already discussed the things I was nitpicking about. You know, I've already beaten that to death. What about you, bro?
Only thing, yo, I know a lot of times we do movies and it's like you want the person to live and not you think Carlito did live. I don't think he did here. There, I wish Carlito lived, man. I, I wish he did because like I wanted him to get out, and when he doesn't, it's like, dang, I wish he would have got out. That's my only thing. That's my only
Well,
joke.
like I said, man, I think this was done intentionally to have a sequel, and they missed their opportunity.
They did. They did that. All right, man. Questions, man. What you got for me on questions?
Yes, sir. All right. How does Carlito Brigante's internal conflict between his desire for redemption and the pull of his criminal past reflect larger themes of fate and free will within the film?
Yeah, I think Carlito is constantly, like you said, making choices to stay connected to this stuff. And Gail is like the scene with Gail. Gail, you're right. Gail like really tells the dude this is what's going to happen, right? and he doesn't
Step by
and
step.
he doesn't listen. And he's got a problem that I think a lot of people have in real life at a smaller, actually, obviously not life threatening scale, which is the inability to let go of things, the inability to let go of the past life, the past relationships, the past business partners, the past friends when they don't serve you anymore. If this was made today, it would be like a whole thing about when you level up, you got to take, everybody can't come with you like that. People would say stuff
Well,
like
Benny the Butcher has this album called "Everybody Can't Go."
right, right, because it's right, and it's a lesson that the film teaches you along the way. I think Carlito is he's a part of his he's the cause of
A
his
product
problems.
of his environment.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he's the cause of his problems. Like he chooses to do these things that keeps him connected to these people. Even when Sasso warns him about Pachanga,
Yo,
spied on
that's the
from Benny
other
Blanco,
thing.
right? And it's like Carlito's like, man, he's just black. He's done by that time because he's already knows that Tony T and his men are probably going to come and kill him anyway. But it's like
See,
he's just so close to it that he's worn out.
but see, that's my other issue. In all other terms, he should have killed Sasso. Ron.
Or killed
Like if in his
Pachanga.
old ways he'd have muscled in and taken his spot. He wouldn't have paid him money
Yeah,
and negotiated the percentage that he would be
yeah,
an owner in. He would have killed him and said, "I have 100%.
yeah.
Bye."
He's a used to
Because you've been stealing from us.
Carlito's a used to be bad guy, man. That's the thing. He's a used to be bad guy.
Call it whatever you want, man. All I know is that at one point or another, he decided he's making a change and no one wants to see him make that change.
Hmm.
My next question for you then is let me get out of this. In what ways does the character of David Kleinfeld serve as a foil to Carlito? And how does their relationship highlight the moral compromises both men are willing or unwilling to make?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about a little earlier. Like they're moving in different directions. Like Kleinfeld is trying to become a gangster. Carlito's trying not to become a gangster, right? And they're
Mm-hmm.
both moving in those opposite directions. But at another level, the film is also critical of all of the institutions that are around these people in general. Like from the very beginning, Norwalk, got the tape, like did illegal wiretaps, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the government is corrupted. The court and the legal system is corrupted because Kleinfeld can be a part of it while he's also ripping off mobsters and doing tapes on his friends. That's corrupted. Even within the criminal organizations, Carlito can't trust the people that he's around because they're
No,
trying to do him in.
he's my brother.
Right. I mean, like every institution is also corrupted around all of these people. So to some extent, how can you not be? How can you not get dirt on you when everything and
Mm-hmm.
everyone around you is dirty? And it's like the film, and it's interesting because like you said, I talked in the beginning about the different racial groups and the way the racial groups are in there. Nobody's painted with a kind brush.
No.
Whether it's like the Puerto Rican guy from the street, the Italian guy, the Jewish lawyer, they're all dirty. Like
Mm-hmm.
everybody's dirty. And it's like that. I don't even think that you would make a movie. I don't know if you could make a movie like that, like this now, where everybody's got that because people are so much more sensitive to everything that it's like, oh, you can't
Mm-hmm.
portray my people in this way. You can't portray me like this. You can't like it would be a very different thing. But the beauty of the film is that it shows like whether you are, like a Carlito who didn't have things, and maybe you had to hustle because that's what you had to do. You could end up in the same place as David Kleinfeld, who seemingly has all of the advantages to him, all the money, all the resources, but his mentality is like a criminal. So he's going to end up in the same situation, the place where Carlito does.
It's crazy you would say that, man, but I'm with you on it. My last question is: how does Carlito's Way compare to other gangster films in its portrayal of a criminal trying to go straight, particularly in contrast to films like Scarface or The Godfather?
Yeah, I feel like we talked about this a little bit earlier, man.
Yeah.
Tony Montana is actively working towards building a criminal organization. Michael Corleone is at the top of the criminal organization, and Carlito is trying to get out of the criminal organization. Now, the fact that all three of those are played by the same guy is a credit to Al Pacino and a credit to the
Mm,
fact that they're all those characters are so distinct that you don't even think about them as all being played by the same
yeah.
guy. So I mean, like, shout outs to Al Pacino for that. I think that what you said earlier was true. That this film is actually different from all of those because he's actually trying to really get out and not like in the way like Denzel Washington is doing in American
Mm,
Gangster, where it's like, all right, I got all the money, now I want to get out. Like he's like, no, I don't want the money. I just want to like just run this club.
I just want to be
I
free.
want to run this club for 2 months. I want to make this 75 G's
$75,000 so I could bounce.
I could get out of here and get away from all you crazy people. So that's where that is. All right, man. I got a couple questions for you, and you alluded to the first one, so I think I know what you got to say. But did you ever see Carlito's Way rise to power? And if so, what did you think of it?
Yeah, I did see it, and I think it was just a vehicle for Sean Combs to become an actor. That's all it was. The guy Jay Hernandez is
Yeah,
in it. I
Don
watched him in a
Carlito.
few things, so I was eager to see what his next moves were. Mario Van Peebles is in
Mm-hmm.
it, so like it had some people that were recognizable, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, I was like, yeah, this
Yeah.
is a waste of an hour, 35 minutes or whatever it is.
Shout outs to Straight to Video. That's what it did. Shout outs to that. All right. So, what was Carlito's biggest mistake?
Him, he was his biggest mistake.
Okay. What do you mean when you say that?
For true, like we discussed earlier, if he truly wanted to be emancipated, you don't go back.
Scott.
You don't you don't go down the walk of the boulevard to let people know that you got out of jail. Um, you leave altogether. You get out of jail, maybe you go find Gail and then you leave. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like you don't go back to your hood and walk down and let people see you come back. It kind of reminded me of Mitch in Paid in Full, where
Mm-hmm.
they love the attention and the stargazing and all that,
Mm-hmm.
and the adulation of the fans. But what is it worth?
There it is. Yo, was Kleinfeld's logic? My next question is: was Kleinfeld's logic correct about how to handle Tony T?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Mob is going to kill you. You took $1 million. They ain't never going to let you off the hook because that's just the utmost disrespect. They got the money back. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Now it's personal because you had the audacity to think that you could steal. And even if you didn't take the money, they think that you took the money.
Right.
So in your eyes, you should have taken the money. We know he did
He
take
did
the
take
money.
the money. Yeah. He did.
But
He did
even if
that.
he didn't take the money and they think he did, then you did that.
Yeah.
So killing him, yeah, you got to do that.
Yeah.
But you're going to be on the run forever. So you got to make sure you get all of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You get both sons and him. And then the power vacuum may happen, whatever. They can't come after an attorney if you turn state witness, but you had been doing criminal things all along.
He would have had to
So
do that. Yeah.
yeah, so
And he was under part of the investigation. Norwalk was
that's what I'm
investigating
saying. Like he
him
was
too.
doing
Yeah.
criminal things all along. So the best thing that he could have ever done was go into witness protection and turn case evidence against them.
Yeah. 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 I agree. It's just it's like he had to figure out something because killing a guy on his boat probably wasn't the right idea. But he was a dead man. He was a dead man.
Yeah, he knew he
He
was
was
a
a
dead
dead
man. He
man
was
from that
getting off that boat
conversation with
alive.
Tony T in the jail. And by the way,
Yeah,
that's a great scene too. The guy who plays Tony T in that scene, man,
yeah.
he's impressive, man, with the way that he was. He had Sean Penn shook for real. All right.
Like for real, for real.
Right. All right. Do you think Benny Blanco gets away with killing Carlito? And
And that actor
what I
is
mean by getting away with is like, do you think like somebody who knows Carlito will kill Benny at some point? I know, it's
all right.
speculation.
Shout out to the actor Frank Minucci. That's the guy who played Tony T.
Yep.
Um, Nobody gets out unscathed. That's the part. This is a vicious cycle that's just going to repeat itself until someone decides to break the cycle. So yeah, somebody's going to kill him. Is it in the name of Carlito Brigante? Who knows? I like to think that follow up sequel, yeah, it would have been in his name, et cetera, et cetera. It would have been his son that Gail gives birth to. Dave comes back,
Now
blasts
that's a
him.
good sequel. That would be a good.
But this is why I said I don't think
that
he
would be a good
died because
sequel.
I'm like, yo, he makes it to Florida. I mean, to the Bahamas. He tells his son about what happened, and despite everything of giving that kid the advantages of whatever, he goes against his father's wishes. Comes back to the city to get revenge on that kid for forcing him out of his hood and what he believed to be his rightful inheritance.
Okay. All right. Next one. Last question. All right. So we talked about how much this movie has influenced hip hop albums. If there was a hip hop album that could be the soundtrack for this movie, what would it be?
Um. Okay, so like I said, there is an album. There's actually two. It's called Ito Brigante, and then the other one is uh, Ito Brigante El Paricio Edition.
Mm-hmm.
So there's already
Named
there's
after
already
the
two
club, yeah.
albums, but Jay Z's first album, Reasonable Doubts, is this movie on canvas on wax. He talks about streets. He talks about the streets are literally always aware of what you're doing. When he's talking about living with regrets. He's talking about sins and the things that people do.
The
He talks
Evils,
about
yeah.
coming of age. So yeah, it's that.
Reasonable
It's
Doubt.
this.
I like it.
Yeah, reasonable doubt.
Classic project, man.
What about you, man? Okay, I let you off the hook
You
on
know
that one.
what, man? I think, yeah, it is reasonable doubt. I don't always think about the questions for myself, but when
Yeah,
you said it and then you ran down the tracks,
yeah.
yeah, that would work perfectly. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, it would. That's a good one. That's a good one. I'm gonna tell you. It's funny. I'm gonna tell you, like, most of the time when I watch movies like this, I always think The Infamous would work perfectly for them.
Oh,
I always think that actually would work perfect.
yo.
Like
First of all, shout out to Prodigy and Havoc, Rest in Power.
it.
Prodigy can't wait for their
Right.
album to drop on the 10th.
It would always work. like it would.
Their albums, their Hell on Earth and the Infamous, that works on
Yeah.
arguably any
Any
type
gangster
of like
any gangster movie,
any gangster flick.
it's gonna work. So The Infamous
Yeah,
would work for it. But
I
I
dig
think
it.
I do
I
think
co-sign
that,
that.
yeah, that but Reasonable Doubt would work. All right. Popcorn wise, man, what you got on popcorn for
Oh man, if
Carlito's
you
Way?
haven't known already, I got five of them joints. Gourmet, Magnifique.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. Gourmet classic popcorn. Get it online if you can. If you gotta get it delivered to you, have do it that way. Yo, I
yeah.
was
Or
thinking,
even own the joint,
right.
man. Buy it on whatever.
Yo, it's funny you mentioned that. I actually had this as a DVD. I
Yeah,
bought the DVD and would like put that joint in. Like, man, this was the film, man. Shout outs to
yeah,
that.
man.
Definite 5 stars. All right, Mr. Will, what's your hot take on this
Man, I was gonna go with something that we discussed, and just to share because I don't want to leave the audience out. Um, Originally, my hot take was about Sean Penn's portrayal about David Kleinstein, but we've already beaten that to death. I'm gonna go with something else. This movie is about legacy. This movie is about fathers and sons, um, whether it be by blood or not. So Carlito Brigante, Charlie, his father was the underworld, the guys that he didn't rat on.
one?
They came to see him and they greeted him the way that a father would. They check in and notice I said father, not dad. They would check in, see like what's good, whatever, whatever, and then they felt like, hey, as long as I'm providing, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
And they felt like they provided him with an opportunity. He doesn't want anything from them, and they're good with the relationship as it is. It's also about between his unborn child and him and being there and being more than just a father, but actually being a dad,
Mm-hmm.
changing diapers, reading to the child, et cetera, et cetera. Benny looks at him as a surrogate father figure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he wants, like we said, he wants him to co-sign him. He wants that stamp of approval, the blessing, and he refuses to give it. And think about how many times your parents may have told you, "Nah, I'm not rocking with that. You're on your own, whatever, whatever." And then you go against the grain to do everything in your power to highlight why they should have been on your side, only for it to fail miserably.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're talking about literally Frankie and or Frank and Tony. They're meeting their demise, and then the older brother Vincent coming to seek vengeance. So this is about passing down a legacy, brotherhood, family, the familial ties.
There it is. There it is, man. Yo, my hot take on this one is Carlito Brigante, man, is Al Pacino's best character.
Mm.
And I know that's a tough one, man, because I know he's got Tony
Oh,
Montana. I
yeah,
know he's got
man.
Vincent Hanna. I know he's got John
He's even got the
Milton.
devil.
I know John Milton. I know he's got some classics, man. But
Yeah,
this what he does here with this character is he conveys so many things. He's got the romance part with Gail. He's got the stuff with Kleinfeld. He's funny throughout the film. Like, he just little kind of funny things
yeah,
that he's doing, and it's just and it's different than the other characters who are, I would say, decidedly evil. Like Carlito is the one who's except for Vincent Hanna. The cop Vincent is cool, but the rest of but like Carlito is moving away from that, and it's just like, and I think about how in 2025 they would not allow this.
You don't think so?
You wouldn't allow an Italian guy to play. No, it wouldn't work.
Wow.
Hollywood might try to do it, but people would like protest and outrage. It just wouldn't happen. And
I mean,
I can
and not
understand that.
understanding the science though about how many Germans migrated to
All of that.
Argentina,
Yeah.
now speak the language, whatever.
Yeah.
How many
Yeah.
Portuguese and people from Spain?
Yeah.
Wow, that's tough.
Think about it. We argue about. I mean, I know this is a little bit of a different example, but like people argue about Nick Fury being black,
Touche.
even though
Touche.
you could say that comically, canonically, that's true, right? But like people, I just think we're so sensitive now as a society that a
Mm.
movie where an Italian guy is playing a Puerto Rican, where there's Italian gangsters, where there's Puerto Ricans who are drug dealers or in the criminal world,
Yeah, yeah,
where
yeah, yeah.
there's a Jewish lawyer who's crooked. That would be a hard movie to make.
Oh, yeah,
People
the
aren't going to let you.
stereotypes.
The idea of the stereotypes are so ingrained, and the stereotype the
Okay.
it would just make it hard. But you would miss out on a classic because this film is dealing with all of those things, and it gels and mixes so well. And I would say Al Pacino, this is his tour de force for me. So my hot take
Wow.
is Carlito Brigante is Al Pacino's best character.
Wow,
Don't at me.
that's tough, yo.
Don't at me.
That's tough.
All right, man. So listen, so that's our breakdown of Carlito's Way, man, the 1993 film by Brian DePalma. If you haven't seen it, I don't know what's wrong with you, but if you want to see it, it's on Amazon. You could probably watch 50 or 60% of the film on YouTube clips now. A lot of it is there, but if you want to
Oh, and
get
shout out, man, before we close out, James Rebhorn, who played Attorney Novak, who's probably in
Norwalk,
everything you could think of from Law and Order to
yeah.
this. Like, he's in everything.
Mm-hmm. And if you
Another character actor.
Yep. And if you're into the books, you can get the book Carlito's Way and the sequel,
Yeah.
Closing Time. You check those out, which I think go pretty much right along with the films in general. Also, next week we are back in the movie theaters again. We are going to be talking about Tron Ares.
Mm.
So get your Tron movies up. Make sure you go back and see the other two. So you're ready for this because we will be breaking that one down. Once again, the Sticky Floors podcast is available wherever you get your podcasts. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts. We are on YouTube Podcasts. We are trying to get another new 100 subscribers by our 100th episode. This is our 96th. You can also follow the conversation on Threads, on X, on Instagram, on Facebook. And please do so. We'll see you next week.